You're watching the 420 Pace Network, found at 420radio.ca and paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
We come back again. Someday we'll find it. Somehow, somewhere on Healing Time Island. There's my friends and me. Healing Time Island. There's my friends and me. Nothing to do, lays around all day. So drink back a few and get carried away. There's only a few guys, but tons of girls. So laying around half naked out by the pool. Someday we'll find it. Somehow, somewhere on Healing Time Island. This is my friend.
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, hey, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
I have arthritic pain in my fingers, in my back, and in my legs.
Sheesh, everything's triggering all at once here. This is the 420 Radio Show. We are live on lifestyleradio.ca or .net. Jess, where are you? And Elizabeth Croydon will be along shortly, as will Justin Kander. They're going to chat about a whole bunch of stuff today. And I shouldn't have lit this joint just before we went on the air.
Hi, Al.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yeah. So, how are you? What's your name again?
Lori.
Lori, thank you.
I'm not bad, you.
I'm all right. We're going to open up our
Conference locked.
800 number later on in the show. But if you'd like to call and wait in line, you may go ahead. What else are we going to talk about?
The
number is on our website.
Okay.
That way people have to go to our website to listen.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I listen to your website all day long usually.
How are
while
you,
I'm sitting here working.
what's your name again?
Lori.
Lori, there we go. We have another conversation going on.
Are we here now?
I think we're here now, yeah. But we're going to be
together.
We're going to be here in a minute. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to turn on a tune and find everybody, and then we'll be back to start the show. This is the 420 Radio Show. We're live on Lifestyle Radio.
This is Bubbles from the trailer park, and they're playing some fucking excellent music on lifestyleradio.ca. I hope I didn't sound too nervous there.
Please hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Selassie.
Well, is it Sensi Rock again?
I'm for your touch again.
Why, oh, Mr. Earthman.
Bring it to
Mr. Earthman.
Oh, yeah.
Bring me a bag of Cali. Mr. Earthman. Me tell you me need more of that. Mr. Earthman, bring me a bag of Cali. Mr. Earthman, well, hurry up now, hurry up now.
Cause right away, as I wake, I need to meditate. So I need a pound of cushion at me place. So right away, call up the Earthman and tell him say don't delay. By my gate him up me sit down and away. Oh yeah, no sense a rock come check me so the chalice it a feel like meditation in the heights and get the red up in a we eyes. So globalize, centralize, we say it's feel legalize. Babylon abundant when display for light. Alright,
Mr. Earthman,
tell you bring it up.
bring me a bag of Cali. Mr. Earthman, me tell you me need more of that. Mr. Earthman,
Sense a rock make him know.
bring me a bag of Cali. Mr. Earthman, yeah. Well, hurry up now, hurry up now. Right, you know me and my brethren pon the corner. We are waiting for the Earthman to come on, yeah. Oh, the Olympics so long to bring a bag of Cali come. From morning no even a split till me come. Me have to roll it, me want to smoke it. That's why we have the whole world promoted. Me want to roll it, me want to smoke it. Now the prescription chemical drug it, I need natural Cali.
Hey, Mr. Earthman,
Bring me a bag of Cali.
hey, Mr. Earthman,
Me tell you me need more of that. Me need more of that.
Earthman,
Yes, me need it.
bring me a bag of Cali.
Bring me the bag of
Mr.
Earthman. Wow. Hurry up now, hurry up now. Mr.
Bring it up
Earthman.
right away.
No, 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 no. Sense the rock again.
So we need the herbs. For your touch, need the transcend. The rock say bring it come, yeah. From Jamaica to Netherlands.
I can't get back at Elizabeth.
This is
he might have got the wrong number.
420 radio show. Watch what numbers you're playing out there. That's, you know, we're on the air now. So
Okay,
you
which
know.
number do I,
Just 1 second. We're going to be right back. We're going to try and get our guests all straightened away. We're going to listen to some Eddie Murphy and Snoop Lion on
Nice.
the 420 radio show. I think that's the good song. Radio show. I think that's the good song to listen to. Yes, I do.
Red light, stop right there where you are. Red light, stop right there where you are. Out of the frying pan into the fire, burning down the people's souls. My high anxiety is getting higher. It feels like I'm gonna blow. Yeah, gone is the breeze. It used to be so sweet. Poison is the wind that blows. Yeah, it can't be long. The military come with a knock, knock, knock on your door. All right, red light, stop right there where you are. This is a red light, stop right there where you are. Emancipation, race relations, most of your rebels are gone. The trust in nation, the time we wasted, the people's patience is gone. Oh Lord, broken economy, our streets are dire, even more than before. I need some betterness to take me higher. Feels like I'm gonna blow. Yeah, gone are the days when people used to say everything is alright. No place to run. Now here you come with a knock, knock, knock on your door. Oh, red light, stop.
this is the way that we flow. Higher and higher and higher we go. Through dedication, self-preservation, Ali, I said, I see I.
Marcus Garvey, Malcolm and Martin, all the rebels are gone. We lost our way, darkest is the day. Most of the rebels are gone. Yeah, red light. Red light.
We can ride, we can roll, we can breathe, we can talk, we can walk, we can stop at the red light. We can smoke, we can do what we want, we be real, we can love, we can stop at the red light. We'll stay true, we'll be you, we'll be up, way above, and no push and no shove at the red light. We can ride, we can roll, we can breathe, we can talk, we can walk, we can stop at the red light. We can smoke, we can do what we want, we'll be real, we'll be blunt, and we'll stop at the red light. We'll stay true, we'll be you, we'll be way up above, and no push and no shove at the
And we are the 420 radio show. I was just telling Jess that I really, really like this new Jack White album, and my new favorite song is Lazzarato, which we're going to hear later. I can't stop playing it. Can you hear? It's called Overplay. We've been joined by Justin Kander he's the webmaster of Phoenix Tears Foundation's website. And also Elizabeth Croydon. Elizabeth is a comedian, publisher, blah, 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 blah. She's also an advocate for cannabis. So welcome to the 420 radio show, guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm glad that you're all here. Now, Justin, you're going to love this. While we have this chat, Lori is making caps.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah, hey, listen, multitasking is my middle name, right?
So, Justin, tell me, please, if you wouldn't mind, give us an update at what you're up to. I know that you've been published a few more times since the last time you were on the show.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot more writing for Medical Jane, and I've continued to update my report, Cannabis Extract Report. And the things that have been going on now, the growth in the movement is just alarming. One of the big things is that Ricky Lake is making a documentary called Weed the People about my friends Mara Gordon and Stuart Smith, who are treating pediatric patients with cannabis oils for cancers and other diseases. That's one of the things that I'm most excited about. I also just wrote an article for Medical Jane about Nuvalex, which is aiming to use encapsulation technologies to improve the effectiveness of cannabis extract medicine, because there are certainly cases where there are cancers that are hard to reach, and it just doesn't seem to be as effective in those cases. But if the encapsulation technologies could be used to concentrate the medicine in those areas, then it would work much better. Those are two quick updates. But in general, everything's just been going great. So much rising news, articles about other patients using oils to fight cancers. There was just a few weeks ago one on Ladybud about Logan Yule, who had terminal leukemia, told he was going to die, and in 3 months is scanning clear of cancer. He's also going to be in Weed the People. It just keeps happening over and over. People are seeing, these are reliable results. This is happening, and it needs to be given the attention it deserves.
And I love what's going on, although I was talking with Elizabeth earlier. We're going backwards up here in Canada, as you know. And
oh yeah, that I'm familiar with a little bit of that.
It's very sad, but it's nice to see the progress going forward as far as concentrates go and extracts and stuff like that. Elizabeth used to be involved you were involved in one of the first
one of the very first compassionate care clubs. In fact, that term hadn't even been coined yet. In 1997, I assisted by being the hostess with the mostest in New York City with Johan Moore and the yippie Dana Beal. And those were the days when AIDS patients were taking AZT cocktails to treat their disease, and Mayor Giuliani had a 24-hour lockup rule so that if these lawyers would step around the corner and smoke their J to get rid of the nausea that the AZT cocktails were giving them, they would be locked up for 24 hours, and then they weren't able to get their medicine, and then they would come back to us, 3 times as ill. And
wow.
It was quite a thrill to see the true impact of cannabis on people. I mean, the people, the cancer patients that were unable to eat. One of our patients began taking a photographic art project in hand where he showed himself in the middle of his chemo before he had begun co-treating it with cannabis. And he was emaciated and looked like he was on death's door. And then he took a picture of him smoking, and then he took a picture of him eating a sandwich. And he beat the cancer. And by midway through his project, you could see the health and the life returning to his eyes.
And this was in the 80s?
It was in the early 90s, 1996, 97.
Okay.
And it really opened my eyes to what cannabis can do. And I began smoking as a juvenile delinquent, and I did not look at what I was doing as a medical treatment. I mean, I put myself under tremendous pressure as an artist. I've been in acting and comedy for over 30 years. And I would put myself under these tremendous amounts of pressure and stress, and I did not look at what I was doing as medical. I just thought, oh, I'm feeling better.
Yeah. And you know what? That's exactly what people need to start saying. It's so simple. And for anybody who knows anything about it, and if you don't know anything about it, Google it. It's called cannabis or marijuana or pot or weed, whatever you want to call it. Weed. Okay.
I love the term weed because that's exactly what it is. It grows everywhere and anywhere.
And it grows just like one.
But you know what? I'll tell you something.
It's funny about that term weed, actually. A weed is only something that you don't want.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's exactly the opposite of weed.
And I have sat there.
Some of my favorite dietary foods are considered weeds, dandelions, great for the liver.
Yes.
Considered a weed.
Yeah.
But yet, medical.
It's only a weed when it's in my rose garden.
Yeah.
I would love weed in my rose garden. It's not a weed when
it's in my herb garden.
Wouldn't it be great to graft weed and roses? So maybe if you got like a master grafter, you could have like a flowering rose with a bud right in the center of it. Which reminds me of a really cool compassionate club. If there are any California listeners out there, there's an amazing compassionate club called Bud and Roses, or Buds and Roses, which was started by a fellow whose daughter is in great need of the weed. I also like the word weed because you have to smile when you say it.
Yeah.
You're right.
What do you hear from people, Justin, in all your conversations? I have conversations with Lori and Jess and other people, and I know Lori, for one, finds the word weed and pot kind of derogatory, right, Lori?
Well, I have found that in talking to people that are of the reefer madness mindset, by speaking to them about cannabis, it almost it's like they're almost starting to get friendly and warm up to the idea before they realize it's pot.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And it almost makes it friendlier and more.
I find I
have
find
to think about who our audience is when we're speaking.
that's
to
right,
them.
and I find when I'm having a
Yeah,
conversation,
I
when I have a conversation with this person, I call it, like with my buddy down the road, I call it pot. When I'm having a conversation with Lori, I call it cannabis. You know.
Yeah, as my profession is a comedian, so I am allowed a certain amount of professional irresponsibility. But, you know, my job is to be irreverent. But my buddy Adam Eidinger and the DCMJ cannabis campaign to go with full legalization in Washington, D.C., they're very careful, and they use the word cannabis.
Yeah.
You know, which is a really nice word, and it takes away, although a lot of people are not aware, it takes away the racial slur of marijuana.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know the word cannabis as well.
It's true.
Right.
It's very true. Yeah. And they need to understand that, because you got the cannabinoid receptors in your brain. So the two of them are very simpatico.
I'm stimulating those right now.
You know.
Well, and to quote something, a friend of ours, Dr. Sunil Agarwal from, I believe he's at NYU in New York there, I was listening to an address that he gave at Albert Einstein Institute, and he was telling the people in the class that they should use the word cannabis, because when you give your patient morphine, you don't tell them you're giving them a prescription for smack.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Makes
right.
sense.
Unless they're a comic. I mean, my whole thing, you know, and there's a reason why I like to call it weed. I mean, it's been around forever, and there's a whole tradition that's being ignored. You know, like the poor 1960s vets are being ignored, and they were some of the first pioneers in post-traumatic stress disorder. They called it weed.
Yep.
That's right.
One of my issues
I like to say once a pothead, always a pothead. You know.
Amen, and women, and a couple sheep plants if you can afford to grow your own. You know, that's the other concern that I have, which is why I primarily refer to it as weed, and weed are the world, because you know, my concern with this green rush is that it's going to become unaccessible to the poverty-stricken family that has been using it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we need to. That's why I fell in love with safeaccessnow.org. We need to make certain that it remains accessible and affordable to patients.
Definitely.
Absolutely. What is happening at Phoenix Tears these days? I know that there's a lot of families moving into Colorado now, eh?
Yeah, so the Phoenix Tears Foundation is doing a lot of work in Colorado, including to help some of the families relocating. They released a press release about welcoming the Warrior family, who has a child with, you know, one of the rare intractable forms of epilepsy. They're also doing the Phoenix 5 project, which is treating 5 terminal cancer patients from start to finish, so that people can, you know, see it as it happens. Because that's the most compelling thing. When you see someone start the treatment, they're told they're terminal, and then you see those results. That's the most compelling. And there's been 2 updates released so far. One, I believe it was colorectal or colon cancer. She's feeling a lot better overall, just like night and day. But the most stunning update was this guy, David Atkins, who had a spinal tumor stretching from T2 to T7 up his spine.
Wow.
It was either going to paralyze him or kill him. And in only 7 weeks of cannabis extract treatment, the tumor is gone.
Wow.
So that update is, you know, it's out there on YouTube. It's in my report. So yeah, Phoenix Tear. And another thing is they're working with Cannabis Science to do skin cancer trials in Colombia. So, you know, just prove it once and for all that it works against skin cancer. Those are basically the 2 main projects going on right now, the Phoenix 5 and the Colombia skin cancer trials. And I'm really excited about both of them.
I'm really excited about those projects and about the word getting out further. I've seen from my own eyes skin cancer tumors shrink with the application of the high concentrated oil. And I was curious if in the Phoenix Tears Foundation, if anyone had ever heard of the filmmakers Trey Booth and Kevin Booth from Sacred Cow Productions.
Yes.
Their last movie followed the story of an infant that had been diagnosed with a rare cancer. She had over 300 seizures a day, and the cannabis was able to slow that down. And there was marked improvement in her cannabis treatments. They were using a combination of chemo and cannabis, and it's unfortunate that the strain on the infant body, caused her to pass away. But it was documented improvement that the cannabis was making a difference where the chemotherapy was unable to, and it's so hopeful.
So that was American Drug War 2, right? Because Kevin Booth.
That's right.
American Drug War 2. So I don't know about a girl, but I know that the Cash Hyde was definitely in that. He had a rare brain tumor and was on the verge of death. And Mike Hyde began secretly administering cannabis oil through the feeding tube, and he immediately started improving, was able to get off all his anti-nausea and pain medications.
Yes.
And the tumor started shrinking, and he was eventually pronounced cancer-free. So his situation was unique in that as soon as he was pronounced cancer-free, they lost access to cannabis oil, and the cancer came back.
Yep.
They then went to California to do a combination of proton therapy and the oil, even though the doctor said the proton therapy probably wouldn't work. He used it along with the oil and yet again beat the cancer without needing any anti-nausea medications, which was incredible. And then yet again lost access to the medicine and the cancer came back. And then he wasn't able to get any more, and he did die. And his case shows that even once the cancer is gone, you need to keep a maintenance dose going. And I've seen this before because there are still residual cancer cells in the body. There's always cancer cells in the body, for one thing. And if you've had cancer before, then your risk of it returning is much higher. But people who stay on a maintenance dose, I've never heard of the cancer coming back, and there are many people who don't take maintenance doses and the cancer doesn't come back. But, when it's your life, you don't want to take any chances. And also in regards to Cash Hyde, there was a great article on Vice.com just 2 days ago it's called Families Desperately Seeking CBD. And it starts off with Cash Hyde's story and how he responded so well to the high THC medicine. But, THC and CBD are both important and have their own applications.
I followed Cashie's story right from the get-go, and I was so happy to see it working because, they made it very, very public what they were doing. And
Justin, are you aware of
the
little girl? I think she had leukemia in Toronto, and the doctor documented, even though, he wasn't administering the cannabis oil, he documented it. And they also noticed that when they changed the strain, that her results changed. That she had great success with the oil, but then when they changed the strain, it changed the success, and then they switched back again. Do you know the study I'm talking about?
I'm extremely certain that you're referring to the November 2013 Case Reports in Oncology study, which is, that's the one case that truly is fully documented. And I don't understand why that hasn't gotten more attention. It is literal proof that at least in the case of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, cannabis extracts do work. No chemotherapy had been effective in reducing the leukemic blast cells, and within days of starting the oil, it plummeted. And by day 39 of the treatment, there were only like 300 blast cells left, where the peak had been 374,000. And another thing is that you're right, the changing the strains and changing the dosage did have an effect on the leukemic blast cell count, and that's how they knew it was the cannabis oil and not spontaneous remission. It ruled out spontaneous remission as a cause because there was a dose-dependent relationship. So, a lot of people say, with cannabis oils, you don't know if it's, it could have been spontaneous remission, which is just, it's bullshit with all these cases and the immediacy of these effects. Calling all of this spontaneous remission is just not true, and it's irresponsible to say that.
What?
But wait a second, though. Spontaneous remission does happen.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, you have to this is the thing. We have to remember that too. I mean,
I understand what Justin's saying, though, is that the result of that specific trial is that
with that one for sure
was dependent on the actual administration of the cannabis oil.
Yep, and I concur. But that is a problem because there is spontaneous remission, and sometimes we don't really know.
It's a matter of the number of cases.
Yeah.
That's the key. Over all these years, seeing so many cases, you know, when you look at the details, it's very clear that there's something going on when it's examined holistically.
You know, and when I'm speaking to patients, I always tell them, you know, there is a chance that it could be spontaneous remission, but why take the chance and not stay on a maintenance dose anyway?
Why wouldn't somebody? Why wouldn't somebody stay on the maintenance dose?
Because they're not
other than
cannabis
finances.
lovers.
Other than finances,
That's
of
an
course.
issue that I have with my father. Recently, he was on a wretched chemical drug that was interfering with his cognizant abilities, and you know, I was nervous that it was dementia. He's been off of it for 2 weeks now, and he's returned to the dad I know. But with living with over 47 years of multiple sclerosis symptoms, I have constantly worked to get him to try a brownie to see if that helps with some of his issues. And I run into the entrenched 1950s, 60s mentality, and with his legal service to the government, that this is not something he can have as an option because of its legal status, which breaks my heart.
Oh, for sure. That's hugely limiting and prohibitive for so many people, you know. And, you know, anybody in any kind of position where they administer drug tests on any kind of a regular basis, anybody of any sort of technical or high-risk position or anything like that, And I think the proof of the efficacy and safety of it, it's tantamount. We have to force that as being, like, you know, I had the occasion to talk to a doctor I was on a panel with there back in, when was that? I guess in 1st April. And he had admitted to me that he'd only ever allowed 2 patients to use cannabis here in Canada, even though it's been allowed for many, many years. And only because they had cancer, only because they were terminal, and only because there was nothing else that was alleviating the side effects of the cancer treatments.
Hey, you're inspiring me to inform you guys, in case you're not aware, that the DEA has begun harassing our PhD physicians that are recommending marijuana to their patients.
Oh, God.
And
or who are involved in cannabis businesses.
That's actually in the news that's coming up. That's one of our stories that we're about to do, And I think that's disgusting.
They're kind of doing that here in Canada, too, though, aren't they, Jess?
Well, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
In fact, they've stopped physicians from recommending cannabis from one province to another. It used to be that we could do that, and in fact, we can still Skype for some reason from one province to another, but a doctor, even though he's registered with the Royal College of Physicians in Canada, now can no longer, you know, go to another province and recommend cannabis.
Jesus. Well,
But they can do it
pardon
on
my New York French when I say fuck that shit.
Yeah,
There you go.
but yet they can do it on Skype. This is what amazes me.
Yeah, it's dependent on what province your ass is sitting in.
Yeah. That's
so
right.
if your ass is in the province that you're licensed in, you're good to go. Now, I have noticed that one of the provinces, I believe it was Quebec, there was an article in the last week where their doctors are very concerned about the fact that patients in Quebec are being signed by doctors in other provinces.
Right. They have an entirely different legal system than the rest of the country, a different constitution, and so their crackdown on cannabis is way harder than the rest of the country.
That's true.
It's not benefiting them, that's for sure.
Now, Saskatchewan did take the forward-thinking measure of actually reviewing the situation and making directives for their doctors, and I was kind of They didn't say that they couldn't recommend it. What they said was that if you are going to recommend cannabis to patients, you are not allowed to be involved with some business that is also selling it or reselling it or a resource
Which is
center.
such hypocrisy, because you have all of these pharmaceutical sales reps running around spending big money scheduling lunches with doctors specifically for them to recommend their debilitating MS drug or their pseudo effective cancer drug or the latest antidepressant. So, to say that doctors shouldn't be affiliated with a specific outlet or a specific grower is just poppycock.
Yes. So, hey, Justin, I know you can't stay very long, but I haven't spoken to you before, but I immediately noticed your ability to recall information and draw upon it. So, what's your background? You seem extremely informed.
Well, I got involved 6 years ago. I saw Run from the Cure March 3rd, 2008. I know because I made a post responding to the thread. And I just followed the movement, from the beginning, saw it grow, from literally that one video, other people started making posts on forums. There were other documentaries like Sure to Cannabis Story and Vitamin Cannabis. And then I would say things really exploded, last August with the Sanjay Gupta documentary and the use of the high CBD oils to fight epilepsy, which in my opinion is even more amazing than cancer, because cancer is something that we, understand a little better. Cells go malignant and you need to kill those cells, but epilepsy is just so complex. And I knew that, that was the moment when people would really start taking this seriously. And then I made CannabisExtractReport.com, where I wrote that report for the Reform Conference in Denver, put on by DPA. And I've just been updating it and, collecting more information ever since. And, just from being surrounded, the reason that I remember things, a lot of details is because, I've just been looking over, so many cases and, some cases like the case reports of oncology stuff I've looked over, dozens of times. So, this has really become second nature to me. A lot of the patient cases, the protocols relating to the oil, just following it, every case and, trying to become involved wherever I can has gotten me this far to where, I am the webmaster for Phoenix Tears Foundation, and I have, so many other amazing contacts. I'm very fortunate for, how far I've come in this.
You're in Denver? Is that where you're located?
I am actually in College Park, Maryland, which is right outside of D.C. I'm about to move.
We have to get together before you move. I'm one of your neighbors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm in Kensington, Maryland right now.
Oh, wow, that is close.
You never
I'm trying to move that west,
we'll have to medicate. I just got in from L.A., and I'm taking my first trip to Denver this summer. So we'll definitely have to exchange information through our hosts today.
Absolutely. You're a really awesome and funny person. I would definitely love to meet you at some point.
Oh, thank you. Smooth talker, eh? He's a smooth talker, too.
Yeah, man.
Justin, I've got to say I admire what you've done so far, my friend. Justin's only in his 20s.
Hey, can I have I'd like to ask Justin a question.
Oh, sure. You go right ahead.
You're in College Park, man. Do you know what the dealio is with Maryland University and their medical department? Are they doing anything with cannabis? What's the college campus there feel like?
Well, I graduated last year. I was part of Students for Sensible Drug Policy, the University of Maryland. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. I definitely would not be here without them. But yeah, so I was part of them. In terms of medical research that the campus is doing, I'm pretty sure that they're not doing any / I'm not aware of it. But I've seen a lot of general progress, like Good Samaritan policies that SSDP fought hard for that, so that people overdose on alcohol or other drugs, that they can, call for help without having fear of punishment.
Yeah.
There's been a strong push to reduce the penalties for cannabis possession on campus so people don't get kicked out of their dorms. Nothing has happened with that yet, but since, Maryland is about to decriminalize up to 10 grams in October, I'm hopeful that, this chapter will help equalize the penalties from the campus. But yeah, that's the general state of things here.
Yeah, I used to get high with this cat in high school, and he won, he went to Good Counsel High School, and he won the Good Christian Gentleman Award, and he had an A+ average, and went on to be one of the best musicians in the country. Some people thrive on studying. Some people can work very well under the influence of cannabis. Other people
I can
can't.
tell you that I did.
I can tell you that I do as well, sir.
And me, for sure. That's the only way I got through college, I gotta say.
I think there is something now. I'm speaking specifically from my personal experience, but I think there is definitely something to be said for a good sativa when you are pressuring your brain to absorb knowledge. It seems, or to create a story. It seems to provide a cerebral relief.
For sure.
So you're able to, memorize that book of macroeconomics in an evening.
So, Elizabeth, I can see a picture of you and a little girl. Is that your daughter?
No, that's the daughter of a very dear friend of mine, Adam Eidinger, who's a longtime activist. He's the spokesperson for Dr. Bronner's hemp soap.
Yay!
Yay for sure.
The cannabis plants love Dr. Bronner's.
Oh my gosh! I mean, what a pioneer! He goes to India to make his soap, and I believe that the hemp that he uses is grown out in India at the moment. Adam would be the expert, but that is Adam's daughter, Arundhati Roy. And she's just a joy to be around. And Adam is a crazy mofo activist. I met him in the year 2000, and about 150 of us organized the core circle that protested against George Bush's selection to the White House. And he executes his activism through great theatrics. And he and Dr. Bronner, and I believe Ben Droz, I could be wrong about
Ben Droz.
Do you know Ben Droz? I love the Ben Droz.
I'm familiar. I know, he works for, is it Vote Hemp? I mean, he's like the main hemp activist.
He's the main lobbyist for Vote Hemp. He does fantastic work. And
I met him at my friend Stacia's birthday party. He's really high energy.
Yeah, he is total high energy. I love partying with that guy, and I'm always flattered when he comes out to a comedy show. But at any rate, Adam and Dr. Bronner, along with some other hemp farmers, went down to, I believe, the Department of Justice and planted hemp seeds on their front lawn with ceremonial shovels. And of course,
that was back in 2012.
Yes. Yeah, of course got arrested. And most recently, my biggest fear in the, if you'll pardon my comedy, weed industry is that Monsanto will start fucking with GMOs and weed.
Monsanto already is. Monsanto in Uruguay have teamed up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the whole deal with Uruguay and the government test project to grow weed for the people. It's a Monsanto endeavor.
Oh, my goodness. I'll have to look at that very careful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind the super weed seed, but I definitely mind the suicide weed seed.
Monsanto had to get involved. There's no way that they would let the most spectacular plant on the planet, go by them.
Well, I pulled the wool over my own eyes and was resting in the safety of my own delusions, hoping focus on oranges as they've done for so many years. Yeah, but my favorite caper Adam and I recently pulled was with the Organic Food Lobby. We dropped $2,000 from the top of the Hart Senate building, which is where a lot of the lobbying is done, after giving false awards to all the office holders that claim they were, that were doing their best to be subtle about accepting Monsanto campaign money. And we rolled around in the money on the floor and got arrested. The Secret Service came and applauded me, so there are a lot of people on our side that can't speak out. And Adam and the DCMJ.org organization that are right now in full force getting the petition for Prop 71 full legalization to be on the ballot. Right now they're finding that it's hard for Washingtonians to come out of the weed closet.
Right.
It is a very deep, dark weed closet. I mean, it's so deep you can see Narnia. In fact, often I go in the weed closet just to smoke with Aslan. But I grew up here, so I know all the stoners, and I know where they are, I know where they work, I know they're at NIH, I know they're planted in the Department of Justice, I know that certain security officers are winding down their day with weed.
Right.
But Adam and his crew they're relentless. I believe they've passed their halfway mark on the signatures. But they are still finding people that won't sign because of what they do. They're afraid of being fired. They've kept their. I wish I could have been subtle about my weed use, but clearly I like to share. Otherwise, I'd have a high-paying job in the private sector of our government.
Right.
But, one of the things that I've seen done, I was training in Aikido. I've trained in Aikido for over 20 years, and one of my senseis was Steven Seagal, and I train at the international headquarters here. I knew a cat who went on narcotic raids, and he was the first cat in the door on narcotic raids. And this cat would come to our mat with the shakes. And finally, one day, I just said, look, what is your problem with cannabis? Is that something that you are very much against? And he spoke about, not really being against that per se. He's more or less fighting the destruction that is caused by meth, by heroin. And I said to him, well, let's fuck beer night. Why don't you just smoke this doobie with me? It's a hybrid of sativa and indica.
Right.
And his shakes went away. He's now a patient, and to see at a confidential compassionate care club. But to see that change in the man that's the first through the door that has to decide who gets shot and who does not get shot, to see him benefit, it's outrageous to me that he does not have access to something that is helping him.
Yeah, for sure. And so many like him. There's so many people still that, I'm really blessed. I live, even though they're trying to take away my right to grow, I still have a license to possess. And even though I think that having a license and regulating humans is disgusting, I'm still very grateful that I have access to this medicine.
Well, what's going down with your license to grow?
Well, here in Canada, our government gave us for, I think, almost 10 years our right to grow our own medicine.
I think it was 13.
13 years, thank you. They recently decided that the only people that would grow medicine for us would be ones that they had licensed commercially.
Oh, man.
And so basically Health Canada took the medical marijuana program and transferred it over to Industry Canada.
It's terrible.
Right. And
it makes me cry.
But it's like the program, the problem is the first program was designed to fail, and yet we made it work. And now this problem, I believe, is designed to fail, and they're going to hand out so many licenses that it's going to fall apart because it's done for the, benefit of profit instead of You know.
Well, good luck trying to, stopping people from growing. It is a weed, and it is culturally embedded, say, in the entire Latino community. When I lived in New Mexico, I was making part of my living doing political consulting for candidates. And these people would come into my home, and I'd show them the Steven Seagal photos and the photos of me with Secretary Norm Mineta and Congressman Mike Honda, and pull out the whole show. I'm so influential and blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, is that you and Cheech and Chong? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd go, I'll listen to whatever you have to say. Just tell me what to do.
I have a great love of pot culture. I know that some people have a little bit of a problem because they're working so hard as medical marijuana activists.
Right.
They get that stick up their ass
so often because goodness knows you're not supposed to like your medicine.
Right.
Exactly.
So, that opens a whole topic that opens a very important topic about health and about well-being, and it gets into the psychology of Hegel. Fun and laughter does heal. Enjoying yourself is important. If you need to write at a computer standing up while you're at work, why can't you write at a computer standing up at work? Why do you have to be in this, German psychologist invented cubicle? I don't know if you know who Hegel is, but he's this psychologist that invented the discomfort to create the idea that you are smaller than the system you're up against. So if you've got a big desk in front of you for a job interview and you're in a tiny, uncomfortable chair, that's Hegel. And that is madness to me. You talk to the greatest minds in learning and absorbing, and they will tell you, you study your neuroscience for 45 minutes, and then you take 15 minutes to go juggle. And for people to laugh at that, I think that one of the biggest reasons why cannabis, weed, marijuana, Mary Jane is greeted with
Scooby-Doo, don't forget that one. Scooby-Doo.
Yes, and the Scooby snacks are greeted with such dismay is that the most rebellious thing you can personally do is be happy.
Exactly.
Authority doesn't like it when you're enjoying yourself.
Right.
They like it when you're under pressure and feel their authority. Because if you're happy, you run the risk of saying, fuck you, Jack, I don't like the way you're running things.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you are happy and enjoying yourself, and you do take the 15 minutes to juggle after studying your neuroscience, if studies have shown that increases your workload.
Yeah.
So something's got to give there, man.
Yeah.
And why not enjoy your medicine?
For sure.
I have a very rare anxiety disorder. And people don't notice it because, as you've probably ascertained, I'm highly social. I can handle people the way some people can handle bank accounts. And I worked as a professional psychic for over 20 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a story about that, which is cannabis related. But
okay.
I have been in my business because I live my life on the double D list. So I'm a loudmouth, big-breasted woman. I have been assaulted over 16 times in my profession. So as a public figure, I'm putting myself out there for anywhere between 2 people late night at the Comedy Store at 1 a.m. to, a couple thousand people at the July 4th smoke-in. To be available, and you make someone feel good, they don't want to get off the ride, or you upset someone and they want to make certain that they never speak again.
Yep.
And I run the issue every time I go into comedy. Am I going to be hit? Will my tits be grabbed and shaken? And it is...
Gosh.
If I smoke the right sativa... And I like the strain. It doesn't sound very medical, but I love the strain Trainwreck.
Me too.
I'm very okay. I recognize, okay, that's a possibility, but I don't fret about it. It doesn't repeat in my head over and over again. I don't live in the terror of that anxiety.
Right.
And so that's important.
Right. Did you catch that recovery, Lori? It was like me at Parliament. What was I thinking?
But, when I went out for the job as a professional psychic, I was very young. I'm 43 now. I was 19 when I went out for this job. And I was an incredible smartass. And I said, okay, I've been acting. So
Are you kidding me?
I'll memorize these cards and these archetypes, and I'll bullshit my way through this job. Well, my buddy took me up on the roof before my job interview. The job interview consisted of reading my boss's cards, and he got me really high. Oh my gosh, mendacity! I loved this buzz. And I came back to the room to read my boss's cards. I had bought the Herbal Tarot set. How fitting for this show. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading the cards, and my little bullshit voice that I usually listen to in order to say the right thing to get out of not doing my algebra homework that day starts talking to me. And I'm telling this woman that the 9 of Sage means that there are actually 3 lawyers instead of 5 lawyers. And I'm like, wow, you are really slinging the bullshit this time, Elizabeth. Hope you get hired, Because I got really specific, and she went around the circle, and she was like, you can go. You're hired. You. And she points to me, you come to my office. And I'm like, oh, buzz me. I am busted. She smells the weed. She's going to get on me for smoking weed. I'm not going to turn in my buddy. And she sits me down, and she goes, what do you mean my husband has 5 lawyers instead of just the ones I know about? And, I was like, I don't really know. I thought I was bullshitting you. And she goes, please get on the phones right now. You're welcome to work in this office. And, I found that continuing through this job as a psychic phone line. I started on a phone line, and I found that sativa, for whatever reason, assisted with the neurological connections and the neuroactivity that was necessary to do this.
Oh yeah, it helps to hook up those pathways really well.
Yes, and then we get into the. I'm sorry, please.
I was just going to say I do database design, and believe me, it works really good.
Yeah. And then we get into the area that maps.org is working on, the psychedelic community is working on, and we start talking about mushrooms growing new neural pathways. I mean,
my favorite.
I've seen several articles about that. Actually.
Give me mushrooms and a Grateful Dead show, and I will heal the sick.
I have one quick question for you, Elizabeth, about mushrooms. I've never done the Amanita muscaria mushroom. Would you try that?
I believe I have tried that in ceremony. I was really fortunate. I started my psychedelic experience right before Dr. Timothy Leary died, and I got to do the psychedelic experience with him and a bunch of heads that were trained. I mean, and I'm very grateful for that because I entered it in a sacred ceremony and I understood the different stages that you would go through instead of, just some Jane Doe who takes it to enjoy a concert and leaves herself open to all kinds of chaos. There was
hanging on for dear life the entire time. You mean?
Right, exactly. Because it really does. It really can take you through different levels of your subconscious that you may not be prepared to handle. But I do know this one case. I was out by the Joshua Tree for the Graham Nash music concert.
Nice.
And the female producer of that show had told me she had gotten into a car wreck, and all of the doctors said that she'd never be able to speak again, nor would she be able to touch her nose with her finger. When she would go to do that, her finger would only go to her shoulder. It would not get near her nose, and her talking was so disorderly that she could not make sense of what she was working to communicate. She went into a tent with a shaman and some shrooms, and she came back with full speech.
Wow.
And she was able to take her finger and touch the side of her nose.
Great.
Awesome.
So,
Wow.
That's awesome.
And, so if you're in the right, it's like, I think it's very important that you be, that everything be medical and attended. Like, I did it in a sacred ceremony, and so I think I grew the right neural pathways with the 500 shamanic drummers playing, the West African beats, and people paying attention to what the proper amounts of vitamin C that's important. All of those things, the water that keeps you hydrated, all of those things are critical. But you take a mushroom and you listen to, say, G.G. Allen in the middle in the middle of an industrial steam park. You may walk away going, "I talked to Satan." So, because all these neural pathways and neuroscience are tying into quantum physics, and who knows what goes on. I was able to pull stuff from the psychic line, people on the phone saying, "I think you sell satellites." Yes, I do sell satellites. How did, we were just putting our minds together in the same frame, but we were able to pull that. So, and I'm quite frankly, while I'm into it, the medical marijuana fight. I am bored with the medical marijuana fight.
Me too. It's the mushroom
I'm bored
fight
with
now.
it too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're moving on. I know.
Yeah, well, I'd like to move on, but the turgid bureaucracy
There's still work within the cannabis movement left to do. That's the thing. There's still lots of work for everybody.
Yes.
So, Al is saying he wants to take a break.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we should. We've been yapping for a while.
And I want to ask Justin a few more questions.
Oh, I definitely want to ask. I've got a couple questions that I'd like to ask Justin as well. And we're going to take a little break here. And before we go, I got to say happy birthday to Jess.
Aww.
And just trying to find my stuff here. So I'm umming and ahhing. Jesus. Stupid 1970s mouse.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to listen. We're going to take a break. We're going to listen to the news that Jess has done. And we're going to listen to some Jack White. And we're going to have a pee and have some munchies. And then we're going to be back with Elizabeth and Justin to talk some more about weed on the 420 radio show. We'll be back. Yeah. We'll be back in a minute.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
It's June the 11th, 2014. I'm Peter speaking for 420 Jess, and this is the news on the 420 radio show. In Montreal, WCAX.com reports, the search widened Sunday for 3 inmates who escaped with the help of a helicopter from a detention center in Quebec City a day earlier. It was the second helicopter-aided inmate escape in Quebec province in 2 years. The 3 men escaped from the Orsanville detention center in suburban Quebec City around 7:45 p.m. Saturday with the help of a green-colored helicopter. The chopper landed in the courtyard of the detention center, which has barbed wire fencing and a watch post, and then quickly took off with the 3 inmates, heading west toward Montreal, police said. Authorities were put on alert across Quebec, in the rest of Canada, and in the United States, according to provincial police. We have cooperation with all the police forces across the country and abroad also, said Sergeant Gregory Gomez. We have many officers who are scattering all the areas possible. Investigators are, of course, checking every lead. police were reluctant to provide many details about their investigation for fear the escapees could be monitoring media reports. The escapees were originally arrested on drug trafficking and gangsterism charges in 2010, according to police. Dennis and Lifber were subsequently charged with murder, according to the Quebec Provincial Police website. Police said the men were swept up in a major 2010 police operation dubbed Project Crayfish, aimed at bringing down a drug trafficking ring in northwestern Quebec. During the raid, police made 51 arrests along with money and drugs, police said. They also seized a plane and a helicopter. The status of the men's cases in the court system was not immediately clear. Provincial jails in Canada normally house people awaiting trial or those serving sentences of up to 2 years. Police released photos of the 3 men on social media and appealed to the public for help, but warned anyone who spotted them not to approach and immediately contact police. Audrey-Anne Bilodeau, another police spokeswoman, said Saturday that police were working with surrounding airports and Quebec's Valcartier military base to help track down the helicopter. The Orsanville Detention Center, about 10 kilometers from the center of Quebec City, can hold up to 710 offenders. An online report from the Joint Blog reports, a new study published ahead of print by Neuropsychopharmacology, the official publication of the American College of Neuropsychopharmacology, has determined that cannabinoids can help treat, or even prevent, the effects of PTSD. Scientists from the Department of Psychology of the University of Haifa in Israel examined rat models suffering from shock-induced PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. The rats were each given an injection of either a cannabinoid receptor agonist, a substance that mimics the effects of cannabis, or a controlled placebo 2 hours after the shock. After a week, the scientists examined the rats and found that the initial shock coupled with situational reminders of the trauma caused lasting alterations in emotional processing in the mice, as well as impaired extinction of the traumatic event, lasting fear, enhanced latency to startle, impaired plasticity in the hippocampal accumbens pathway and altered expression of CB1 receptors and glucocorticoid receptors in multiple areas of the brain. Results for the rats that had been given the cannabinoid agonist showed that the agonist prevented the effects the shock had on emotional processing, extinction, plasticity and startle response, and corrected abnormalities in the CA1 and frontal cortex areas of the brain. Post-traumatic stress disorder affects roughly 7.7 million adults in the United States, and symptoms can range from insomnia, depression and anxiety to flashbacks, self-destructive behavior and even suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And in the U.S., the Boston Globe reports, Drug Enforcement Administration investigators have visited the homes and offices of Massachusetts physicians involved with medical marijuana dispensaries and delivered an ultimatum: sever all ties to marijuana companies, or relinquish federal licenses to prescribe certain medications, according to several physicians and their attorneys. The stark choice is necessary, the doctors said they were told, because of friction between federal law, which bans any use of marijuana, and state law, which voters changed in 2012 to allow medical use of the drug. The DOE's action has left some doctors, whose livelihoods depend on being able to offer patients pain medications and other drugs, with little option but to resign from the marijuana companies, where some held prominent positions. The Globe this week identified at least 3 doctors contacted by DEA investigators, although there may be more. Here are your options. Dr. Samuel Mazur said he was told by a DEA investigator from the New England Division Office. You either give up your license or give up your position on the board, or you challenge it in court. Mazur, chief executive of Debilitating Medical Conditions Treatment Centers, which won preliminary state approval to open a dispensary in Holyoke, said the DOE investigators' visit came shortly after state regulators announced the first 20 applicants approved for provisional licenses for medical marijuana dispensaries. Mazur said he returned from vacation in February to find a DOE business card on the door to his home and several messages on his answering machine urging him to contact the agency immediately. The quiet DEA crackdown comes even as the U.S. House of Representatives approved a measure last week that would restrict the DEA from raiding medical marijuana operations in states where it is legal. Senate action is pending. Tensions between federal and state officials have flared as 22 states, including Massachusetts, have legalized medical marijuana, many since 2010. A spokesman for the DEA in Boston on Wednesday referred calls to agency headquarters in Washington. A DEA spokeswoman in Washington declined to answer questions Thursday about the doctors' assertions that they are being asked to choose between their drug prescribing licenses and their ties to dispensaries. The spokeswoman would not say whether the action in Massachusetts is part of a national policy or limited to the state. Physicians, dentists, and other health care providers who prescribe or administer narcotics and other controlled substances are required to register with the DEA, which tracks use of the drugs and strips federal licenses of those who fraudulently prescribe the medications. At least 2 physicians resigned their medical officer positions with planned medical marijuana dispensaries in the past 2 weeks after visits from the DEA in Denver. 9 News tells us, in a move that could threaten the state's entire legal marijuana system. A Colorado lawyer claims that requiring pot companies to pay taxes violates the United States Constitution. Attorney Rob Corey is asking the Denver District Court to block marijuana taxes in Colorado. With the lawsuit, Colorado's tax system violates the Fifth Amendment, which protects people from self-incrimination. Corey argues that when marijuana growers and sellers pay their taxes, they effectively incriminate themselves under federal law, which still bans marijuana. Corey says he's concerned that the taxes on pot are so heavy that they undermine the goal of legalizing the drug in the first place. It's pretty clear that the black market never going to go away with these taxes, said Corey, who is seeking a preliminary injunction to block the state from collecting tax on pot as part of his case. If the injunction is denied, Corey tells 9 News he'll advise pot shops to stop paying their taxes, a move that would likely prompt the state to suspend their retail licenses. Supporters and opponents of the lawsuit agree that the case threatens the entire state-sanctioned marijuana industry, not just the shops Corey represents. The lawsuit invokes the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution, arguing federal law is supreme over, and preempts, state or local law. A strict interpretation of that argument could pave the way for Colorado's own court system to find its state system for selling pot illegal. Corey called it an outside chance, but didn't seem concerned at the possibility. In my mind, overtaxation is just as bad as prohibition, Corey told 9 News. Other pro-marijuana attorneys tell 9 News they are studying the suit, concerned about the wider impact it could have. It is a bit of a reckless argument, said Brian Vicent, a prominent lawyer on marijuana issues. There's a small chance that a judge may decide to follow through on the Supremacy Clause and question the validity of this program. We think that's a very marginal chance at best. The state attorney general's office scoffed at the lawsuit. Mr. Corey's claims are bizarre and lack legal and logical consistency, said Carolyn Tiller, spokesperson for Attorney General John Suthers. We will aggressively defend the state against any legal challenge. Corey, who has had his own legal troubles with marijuana, is used to butting heads with government officials and even other pro-marijuana activists. He made headlines for handing out free joints as part of his fierce opposition to the 2013 ballot question which enacted state taxes on marijuana, a move critics say resulted in more scrutiny and stricter local regulations of marijuana from the city of Denver. Opponents of the tax question were upset that lawmakers included a sales tax not originally envisioned by Amendment 64, but Colorado voters approved the amendment by a 2-to-1 margin. In Spain, the local tells us, a cannabis club in Barcelona has been closed down for suspected drug dealing, the first closure of its kind in what could be a blow to the city's growing reputation as a hub for marijuana tourism. The club in the city's Ciudad Vela district was shut down after police officers spotted a man approaching tourists and taking them to the club to buy drugs. Later inspections of the premises revealed marijuana packaged for sale, a price list for the drug and a set of scales. All of this meant the club was breaking the law. In Spain, it is illegal to traffic cannabis, and smoking in public places could mean a stiff fine. On the other hand, it's legal to grow cannabis for personal use and smoke it in private. Barcelona's popular cannabis clubs have made use of this legal grey zone and are tolerated by authorities as long as they don't actually operate as a business. And the Libya Herald reports, 2 major drugs busts in the last 48 hours have netted police and customs officials around 15 tons of hashish. The first discovery was made yesterday on a Liberian-flagged container vessel docked in Benghazi. Police, acting on a tip-off, searched 3 refrigerated containers and found around 5 tons of cannabis. It is not yet clear where the containers were loaded. The vessel, which has not been named, reportedly last called at Malta. In the second bust today it comes, the local CID with members of the public prosecutor's office swooped on a vessel identified as the Miss Regensburg which had arrived from Senegal. Sniffer dogs were used to detect containers where the drugs had been hidden, at the bottom of crates loaded with vegetables and fruits, including watermelons. The haul of around 10 tons is one of the largest made in the recent campaign against drug smuggling. It is alleged that the crates were to be delivered to a local food importer. Both consignments of cannabis are to be destroyed in front of the public prosecutors. And back home in the UK, ITV says, Border Force officers at the Channel Tunnel in France in Coquelles, France seized approximately 2 tons of cannabis resin. The drugs, which have an estimated street value of £5 million, were found on Thursday, when officers stopped and searched a Spanish-registered lorry and its load of furniture. Francisco Javier Santiago Solara, 43, appeared at Canterbury Magistrates Court on Friday charged with the importation. He pleaded not guilty, and was remanded in custody. He will next appear at Canterbury Crown Court on the 23rd of June. And on the other side of the planet, the West Australian reports, the Abbott government won't be forcing people on unemployment benefits to submit to random drugs tests. Social Services Minister Kevin Andrews sparked speculation about the potential drug testing for the dole scheme by refusing to rule it out at the weekend. But after Prime Minister Tony Abbott made it clear he was cool on the proposal, Mr. Andrews now says it is off the table. It's out, he told ABC Radio on Monday. The decision will disappoint coalition backbencher George Christensen, who believes the measure would help prevent taxpayer dollars being used to fund people's drug habits. It could be a simple random drug testing process done with swabs at the local Centrelink office, Mr. Christensen told the ABC on Monday. It wouldn't necessarily be an overly onerous system, he says. If you're doing it in a random way, it doesn't have to be costly. He says it's about more than just saving money, it's also about ensuring the integrity of the welfare system and making people more job-ready. And he says he'd be happy to set an example by undergoing tests himself. I'd be happy to support that. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. It might make a few Greens MPs nervous, but it wouldn't make me worried at all. Former Mission Australia Chief Executive Patrick McClure is currently conducting a major review of the welfare system for the government. And just when you think you heard everything, the Daily Liberal gives us a new one. A man who smeared Vegemite in a plastic bag in an attempt to disguise the smell of cannabis has appeared in Dubbo local court on a charge of possessing a prohibited drug. Daniel Paul Kelly pleaded guilty when he represented himself before Magistrate Janet Stevenson. The 36-year-old from Lightning Ridge was stopped by police at Dubbo railway station at 10:30 a.m. on April the 16th. Prosecution facts tendered to the court said police drug dog, Beeve, detected an illegal substance in a duffel bag being carried by Kelly. Police said a small amount of Vegemite had been placed in a plastic bag containing 2 grams of cannabis. Kelly told officers, "I put it there so you fellas wouldn't smell the pot." The court heard Kelly had no prior record. "It is your choice to use the drug," Magistrate Stevenson said. "Cannabis is illegal and penalties will flow." Magistrate Stevenson did not proceed to a conviction but warned Kelly he would be convicted and fined if police picked him up again. She ordered the drug seized by police to be destroyed. This has been your weekly news report on the 420 radio show, and we're wishing you cannabis feels forever.
Ever wondered what's in your prescription medications? Ever noticed the long list of side effects that most medications come with? Even listing risk of death? Does it make sense to put something into your body that could cause death while you only strive to be healthy? Prescription medications do not work for everyone, and most have serious side effects, causing your supplies of prescriptions to increase for treating symptoms that other medications cause. Fortunately for Canadians, Health Canada provides a safe, natural alternative for you. At the turn of the 20th century, cannabis was the most widely used medicine in the world, with over 5,000 years of recorded use and not one single recorded death. It has been used successfully for a number of conditions due to the unique medicinal qualities of the natural plant. In 2000, Health Canada approved the medicinal use of cannabis for a wide range of conditions to improve the lives of Canadians. Side effects of cannabis may include increased appetite, dry mouth, euphoria, or drowsiness. As with any medication, care must be taken when initially treating conditions with cannabis until the proper dose is established. Cannabis may not be for everyone, but it may be a healthy alternative for you. Talk to your doctor or contact us online at
endocannabinoid systems. Like anybody who watches it, it's going to be very apparent, that this medicine is really achieving some amazing things.
That we were just talking about Weed the People off there, and then we just clicked on air. So, we were just Weed the People. Actually, they just started following the show on Twitter. The producer. So I'm going to try.
Excellent.
I'm going to try and get in contact with them. I mean, obviously, I would love to have Ricky on the show, but not because she's Ricky, but more so because I've seen clips of this, and it's so personally done, eh?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need faces on the medicine.
It's nice to see these high, well-known celebrities getting literally high.
There's a good chance they're compassionate too.
But they're getting they're helping bring the exposure to the forefront a little quicker than little rinky-dink shows like this could,
Oh yeah, and so many of us have been in the weed closet for so long too.
Just think about what Chong did for Rick Simpson.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That propelled Rick Simpson.
Now, speaking of Rick Simpson, I've had the pleasure of having Rick on the show a couple of times now. He's a great man to talk to, and just I think a lot of people have a different idea as to who he is, and I'm sure you've gotten to know him quite well, Justin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I kind of if somebody was going to ask me what I thought of Rick Simpson, I would have to say Grandpa.
Yeah.
Now you have tried to continue his work and help along with that and do your part. You're concentrating in extracts and stuff like that, right?
Yes, I focus on, publicizing the information. I also help patients acquire oil, but mainly I, have been promoting and publicizing and sharing this information because, all these people are doing these great things, but, there really hasn't been, obviously mainstream awareness about it. So I've just been doing what I can to help more people learn about it. And CannabisExtractReport.com has, it seems like it's doing a pretty good job. And to this day, there is no other single resource out there, on a single page that has, all the information in one place.
That's amazing, man. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about you. Last time you were on the show, I think, Jess, you were with us, or was it Chris that was with us?
No, it wasn't me. It must have been Chris.
I think it was Chris that was with us. And I got to tell you, brother, everybody was blown away by your knowledge, the way you vocalize what you're trying to get across. I'm not big on the scientific side of things. I'm at this point 50 years old with a lot of different things wrong, and I just want my fucking medicine. And so when I hear all these scientific terms and all that, I tend to take a step back and go, whoa, wait a minute. I want to hear some layman's terms here. So I was wondering if you could indulge me for a minute. I have type 2 diabetes. I've had it now for about 4 years, and I control it with 2 pills a day. Thank God. I've been told by several people, both including Lori and Jess, that one of the reasons why I'm able to control it is probably because of the mass amounts of cannabis that I ingest and use on a daily basis. Now, I've also been told by people who see me on a regular basis that when I don't have my cannabis, I'm a grumpy fucking asshole. I've been told, we were talking about this a little bit on our break, but I've been told that quite easily the maintenance dose could help me get to the point where I don't need it at all. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think
you don't need your medications, like your traditional medications?
Yeah. I'd like to get to the point where I don't have to take any metformin at all.
I definitely believe that you can get there.
Yeah, I concur. Along with probably, dietary adjustments that go along with it.
So, I mean, I can't eat any cheeseburgers and shit anymore?
Easier to achieve by consuming higher doses.
I had the chance of having a month's worth of RSO. And I tell you, there was a little bit of a getting used to it. But then once I got used to it, I felt like I was 20 years old.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's sometimes when you're in that downward spiral, it gives you that extra kick. You just need to get going. Sometimes people just can't get going. If they could, they would keep going. Right. And so I always found that it's good for that. Maybe I do need more exercise, or maybe I do need to control what I'm consuming more, but finding the willpower to do that and the extra kick in the ass came from cannabis.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I know there's been times when I've been really depressed and just kind of couching it and staring at the TV for days, and then somebody comes in and lights up a doobie, and I'm like, woo, how you doing?
We were talking off the air there with Justin about the effects of high dosages and how we've seen it. I think Justin agreed that he's seen it positively affect people with type 2 diabetes too. So.
Well, I know it helps. I know it helps my depression, which quashes my stress, which keeps my levels. So
I'd like to just say to Justin, thank you very much for I don't know if it was the last time you were with us, the time when we discussed. I have to say, when you were talking about homeostasis and your theory behind how the extract works and the cannabinoid deficiencies and all that, it was like all of a sudden all kinds of shit in my brain just fell right into place. And now when people say to me, oh, well, there's no way it can work on so many different things, I fall back to that, because that is the reason and the basis for which and the only way that makes sense that it can address so many different issues, so many different symptoms, so many different
acting as a regulator
diseases.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for all your other systems, right?
So Justin, can you just restate what it was in a nutshell that you said that time for everybody?
Yeah, I would actually love to quickly go over what seems to be the basis behind why cannabis seems to work against so many conditions. So
we will mute our
it's been
mics.
brought up that all humans, and not just humans, but all vertebrates have endocannabinoid systems, which is comprised of a network of cannabinoid receptors and endocannabinoids, which includes anandamide and 2-AG or 2-arachidonoglycerol. And this system emerged very early in evolution, 600 million years ago. It was like in sea skirts or something, where this endocannabinoid system started to evolve, and its purpose seems to be because, once life got to a certain point in evolution, things started becoming more complex, and there needed to be some kind of system to connect the other systems together. So with the endocannabinoid system, its role seems to be to maintain systemic homeostasis. So it maintains, an internal stable environment and balance in all body systems, cardiovascular, nervous, endocrine, Just everything, is controlled ultimately by the endocannabinoid system and is maintained in balance. So if you think of any disease as, falling out of homeostasis and that kind of imbalance, and then the endocannabinoid system restoring homeostasis, then, that makes sense why it would affect so many diseases. But another thing that I really think is at the heart of things is postsynaptic feedback. Because when cells communicate, the presynaptic cell sends a message to the postsynaptic cell. But what endocannabinoids do is they complete the circuit by our 2-AG specifically is synthesized on demand at the postsynaptic cell. So once it receives a message, it creates 2-AG. It sends that molecule back upstream to the presynaptic cell to get feedback. So like in the case of something like multiple sclerosis, that presynaptic cell might be firing too quickly. And then, you get like spasms and such. But then when you put in cannabinoids, then that takes over that role of the postsynaptic feedback. The postsynaptic cell can give feedback and say, hey, you're firing too quickly, slow down, and then the problem corrects itself. And I think that is really at the heart of so many diseases, that when the body can communicate properly, it can heal anything. And that's, it's all just theory, but based on what I've seen with all these diseases being essentially put into remission with cannabis extract therapy, this postsynaptic feedback and homeostasis theory, it explains everything. It's like none of this is coming out of nowhere. Everything has a very sound scientific basis to it, and it's completely supported by the anecdotal evidence.
Now, can you do me a huge favor, please? Very good, Jess. Now, would you do me a huge favor now? Can you repeat that slowly for somebody who's just not very scientific, if you wouldn't mind?
Or type it out and send it to me so I can put it on our website, even better.
Well, so in short, the endocannabinoid system is the super regulatory system of the body. The cannabinoid receptors and endocannabinoids, which are, cannabinoid-like molecules produced by the body, very similar to THC and CBD. Okay. They maintain homeostasis throughout the body through a wide variety of mechanisms, the chief of which I believe is postsynaptic feedback, so that cells can communicate both ways. Okay. Another really great analogy for that is in computer networking. When computers talk to each other, the receiving terminal will send an ACK or a NAC signal back, which is acknowledgement or negative acknowledgement. Yeah. So, if you send a message to someone and it doesn't go through, then the receiving terminal will send a negative acknowledgement signal saying that message didn't go through. And you can imagine that if that didn't exist, if there was no, response, then, no messages would get through, the internet wouldn't work, everything would just break apart. But when there is feedback, then everything works perfect. You have the internet, networking works. So basically, endocannabinoids seem to be that role of completing the circuit of communication. And when the body communicates, it can recognize cancer cells, it can recognize autoimmune disorders like, lupus, MS, fibromyalgia. These are all autoimmune disorders where the body is not communicating correctly, where it is attacking itself. And then you give cannabinoids, suddenly everything's talking together again, and the body just starts working. It really is the perfect medicine for the human body.
Yay!
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Well, you're still here.
So no, I'm here too. I got a phone call, and that's why I was just listening. So continue talking.
Now I'm back.
There's another thing I would like to really point out quickly about cancer, because there's all this evidence the human body is programmed to have cannabinoids kill cancer cells. For one, endocannabinoids, like in the end, also kill cancer cells. So if you put THC in your body and there's already a chemical very similar to THC killing cancer cells in your body right now, it just makes sense that this is going to work, which is, the number one refute that I hear is that, THC kills cancer cells in the lab, but, the human body is so much more complex, it probably wouldn't work in the body. My response is no, it should work better in the human body than in culture cells because we have a receptor system that is programmed to use it. And it's not just that endocannabinoids kill cancer cells, but there are many types of cancer cells that have larger expression levels of cannabinoid receptors than healthy cells, which would indicate that it's a possible defense mechanism against cancer. The body has many innate defense mechanisms to stop cancer from spreading. So one of them could be, if a healthy cell becomes cancerous, it would be programmed to develop more cannabinoid receptors so that the natural anandamide in the body would, floating around would latch onto that receptor and trigger apoptosis. And so many diseases are thought to be cannabinoid deficiency. So by supplementing the body with cannabinoids, it will both, help supplement that postsynaptic feedback process and, do the same roles as the endocannabinoids. So like with cancer, if you flood your body with THC, that also kills cancer cells like anandamide, it makes sense that, it would work very well. And that's what we are seeing, these, stunning results, very quick remissions, very quick results. And that, just makes sense that if the body was programmed to have cannabinoids kill cancer cells, like the study suggests, you would see results like that. It just makes so much sense. And I'm just boggled that people, are still so resistant to it when the evidence is just so strong.
Well, that's it. It's like the cannabinoids are assisting your body to battle the cancer on its own, rather than, like, it never ever made sense to me that, you have cancer, here, let's destroy your immune system.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me
so
sick
we can
even
hack
to hear
around
that.
And see what the hell we can do. It made no sense to me whatsoever.
Just the fact that you can that somebody even says something like that, it just makes me sick. That they've got to rip you down to bring you back up.
Yeah.
Why not bring you back
up? It doesn't make
to
sense.
Bring you
We've
back
gone
up.
down the wrong path as humanity in terms of medicine.
Yeah.
When you see people on chemotherapy, like the chemo doing that to people, making you lose your hair and get sick and throw up, like it's clearly not the right way to go. And that's all cancer, research right now is on. It's not on, different types of chemotherapy. It's just, like more, it's, still the same path. Like, and that path is simply wrong. Single chemicals, the human body did not evolve to process, chemotherapy or any single chemical. That's why you have all these side effects. Because all organisms evolved eating foods that have hundreds of compounds in it. When you put a single molecule into your body, it usually isn't going to respond well, and that's what you see with pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, exactly. They're synthetic things that don't belong there, never were there, and yeah, exactly. It's your body fighting back against what it is that they're giving you to, quote-unquote, heal you.
Exactly.
It does work in some cases, though, doesn't it?
Well,
I'll give you a case. I'll give you a case in point. Okay, a very good friend of mine had Hep C, lived with it for years and years and years. Got it from a blood transfusion. Smoked cannabis when he could get it, and it did help him, but he wasn't an avid smoker. He decided to take the step and go for chemoradiation treatment or whatever the treatment is to reverse and get rid of the Hep C. And it worked for him after, 8 months of like excruciating pain and grossness and throwing up. And he lives 3 hours from any hospital that can, get medicines to him and stuff like that. So it's all shipped to him and stuff. But then if he had just gone on the oil,
I have to say, okay, I don't have a medical degree. I've been sick off and on most of my life, but I have some common sense, okay? And common sense would dictate to me that if you look at what happens and people get a cancer and then they get chemotherapy or radiation or it hacked out or whatever the hell they do with it, or any of the above all combination, of the three, and then they get another cancer in a different location. What Justin is saying makes more sense to me than anything I've ever heard, because if you are having something present as cancerous repeatedly in different locations, it would tend to make me think it's something within your body that's doing it. It's not that particular site. Okay? So if you have something that may show you have a predisposition to developing, say, breast cancer, and you go and you have every bit of muscle tissue removed off your chest because you may have a predisposition
Is that like the thing? Is that the thing
Angelina
that?
Jolie.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie did that. Yeah.
What's stopping that predisposition from popping up somewhere else?
I don't know. I've heard a lot of women chatting about that subject, though. I seriously believe that what Justin said. Nothing. I think it's you have to treat it systemically rather than locally. As look, there's a bump. But the women who are doing what Angelina Jolie did are just saying they're being proactive because it runs in the family and they have the gene.
Yeah, a gene that could
or could not.
It could come into her uterus, or it could come into her ovaries, or it could come into somewhere else.
But isn't this?
My mom had kidney cancer. Okay. Yeah. She had a kidney removed because they said that when she had her back pain, they did X-rays and it was gone. So they had to remove what was left, but the other one was fine. And so she went through, you go for your exams every 6 months, and it's every year. And 18 years later, guess what? She had, we went through everything. They came to her in March and said, you don't have TB, and you don't have lung cancer, and you don't have histoplasmosis, and you don't have any of these things in March. But in May, she was dying with metastatic cancer in her lungs. But I guess it's because renal cancer, once it moves to your lungs, doesn't look like lung cancer. Then when they took the chunk of the lung, they went, it's not lung cancer? How absurd is that?
So,
that's crazy.
Here's the thing, because we really only touched on the topic of high dosages. And probably what Justin notices as well as I do is that when you get to those very high doses of a gram or more a day, that you can cure diseases, especially cancer has been probably proven more than most. So the thing is that there is a large group of people who cannot get to those high dosages. There's what I think it's a 1% group, which is enough. That's a large amount of people to me. Because there's a lot of cancer patients here in Nova Scotia. I don't know about anywhere else. And that who can't get to those high dosages and who have opted for chemo and cured their cancer, but still continue to do low dosages of cannabis and, continue to ward off any future. And I'm not going to say never, ever, ever do chemo, because there's new chemos coming out and they do this. What chemo does and radiation does and what cannabis does is it's all ceramide production. And so whether it's from a synthetic substance or whether it's a natural substance, it's better than not treating it if it's an aggressive thing. And so I want to be careful about saying never ever do chemo, because there's a new chemo called Tarceva that just cured somebody I know.
I say never ever do chemo.
He wasn't sick and he didn't suffer. And now he's quite healthy, and he's still continuing to use cannabis, what we call a maintenance dose, which is what we suggest to everybody even after they've cured their cancer.
So, how much is the maintenance dose?
Oh, that's a good topic that we should talk about.
And what would that cost?
People always say how much, and the answer is always it's totally dependent on the patient, and everybody should be treated as an individual. So start at a very low dose. And, if you're already taking cannabis, then, maybe a maintenance dose would be, my suggestion might be, let me rephrase that. If it were me, I would stop looking at four times a day at that high level, which would be at least a 1/4 gram of cannabis oil 4 times a day, but I would just switch it to the bedtime dose.
Now, is that undiluted with anything, or just flat
I
out?
always mix all cannabis with coconut oil,
Okay.
and I do
Excellent.
I knew that.
I do believe that it's better than hemp oil. I'm sorry, and it's only because of processing, not for any other reason. But it's equal nutritionally.
But it also coconut oil. It has
it's a
some
good
medicinal.
saturated fat.
Yeah, it has some
Which
medicinal
we need.
value itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a saturated fat in a non-animal form is
Right, and hemp seed oil is 84% non-saturated.
And
it's mainly polyunsaturated, omega-6 and omega-3.
right.
Right.
So I'm not downplaying hemp oil. I'm just saying that I recommend cannabis.
Well, yeah, and any of us that use hemp seed oil, it's cold pressed hemp seed oil.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Can you explain what that means? Explain what that
it's
means,
actually
please.
twice the cost of the coconut oil, eh?
What would you recommend, Justin?
One sec, Laurie. And 1 sec. Can you explain what cold press means, please, first?
Oh, cold pressed hemp seed oil means that the process used to produce the oil from the hemp seeds is a cold press rather than heating it.
Okay.
Because heating it reduces or destroys the omega-3 and 6 fatty acids.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now you can continue. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Justin. So what would you recommend?
So in terms of like a regimen, I think that it's great to have a lot of hemp seed oil in your diet in general because omega-3s have been shown to be essentially the foundation of the endocannabinoid system, both the receptors and the endocannabinoids themselves. But for mixing cannabis oil directly with another oil, I believe coconut oil is better because cannabinoids are fat soluble and saturated fat. It seems to just dilute better into it. And I've heard of the cases where people have combined it with coconut oil. It seems to increase the bioavailability and increase the time that it takes to metabolize the cannabinoid so that it's in your system longer. Go on.
I just want to say I also noticed patients that they notice less of an up and down in their high when they mix it with coconut oil.
That would make sense.
I've had both. I've had the chance of trying both, and I got to say that I didn't feel as queasy with the coconut oil.
Right. Yeah. And so what about a maintenance dose, Justin? What do you think that would be considered?
I think 0.1 to 0.2 grams every day or every other day would be good. I definitely think it's important to keep ingesting it. I don't believe that smoking would be an adequate maintenance dose because you're overheating the cannabis. You're processing it through your lungs instead of the digestive system. But I really don't believe that you need much. And I believe that in the future, everybody will be able to take large quantities of high CBD oil and raw cannabis medicine like THCA and CBDA, which have no psychoactive effects, so people can take them whenever they want. And I do believe that it will eventually be proven that raw cannabinoids like THC acid and CBD acid will be better for treating cancers and other diseases than decarboxylated THC.
Jameson has
people having trouble working up to the right dosage because of the psychoactivity. I think that's on its way out.
Jameson has already said they're going to jump into that market.
Right.
They do a lot of herbal stuff, right? Jameson. What is it? Jameson. I don't know the whole name of their company, but I read an article. They said that they are going to jump into the cannabis market.
Yeah, they do a lot of supplements.
Yeah.
Not the good supplements, though, the cheap, crappy supplements.
The CEO, the fellow that's been CEO of Jameson for the last 21 years.
Thanks.
Just,
I needed some of that stuff. No, I'm kidding, Jess. Sorry, what was that, Laurie?
I said the fellow who's been the CEO of Jameson for the last 21 years has just moved over to a cannabis company here in Canada.
Okay. Yeah, I was just using them as a reference. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are coming out with their own versions of this and that, right? What are you laughing at, Jess?
I sampled a bubble gum at the Safe Access Now conference that was absolutely amazing. It helped every muscle in my body relax. It was just lovely.
I have hard candies that same sort of thing.
I've had candies and I really enjoyed them, yeah, and cookies too. Like, I mean, I'm love. Somebody's never sent me them yet.
You know what? The guy that makes our truffles doesn't like me anymore. Darn it.
Oh God.
Darn it! And I told him, the fact that you don't like me shouldn't affect the fact that you make truffles for all these sick people. But
buttercreams. Buttercreams work really good too, eh?
I gotta try that.
We made some medicated butter tarts last year sometime, and they were.
I made Christmas candies, right? So there's chocolate truffles and maple walnut buttercreams and orange buttercreams.
So
it's a good thing it's my birthday and I have all this cake here. I'm telling you, because I get so much.
People keep bringing you cake.
I got a cupcake daisy. I don't know.
Cool.
It's cool though. It's really cool.
So listen, folks. I wanted to give. We're getting close to the end of the show. I wanted to give everybody a chance to, chat about what they wanted to chat about, and I'd like to start with Justin and see if he wanted to add anything or update anything, and then we'll let Elizabeth talk about her visit at ASA in. Where was it? DC, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the DC conference.
Cool.
I was actually there too on Sunday. I wish I could have seen you there.
Dude, I had a smectabulous time. Do you have anything you want to plug? Because I'll move right into how much I support that organization.
I guess all I can really plug is cannabisextractreport.com, which I just updated again on June 2nd. If you everybody should read it. Just see how extensive this is, how many patients are reporting remissions with cannabis oils, all the rising names in this, like Dr. Raphael Masholam, who discovered THC, has called clinical trials of cannabis and cancer because of the weight of this evidence. Stephen DeAngelo, who runs the largest dispensary in the country, is reporting weekly skin cancer successes out of his establishment. There's Jeff Ditchfield, who is working with some of the leading researchers in Spain, Guillermo Velasco and Dr. Manuel Guzman, on a documentary called Project Storm, which follows 6 terminal cancer patients using cannabis oils to treat the cancers. And it goes really in depth into the science. Like, he is interviewing, the researchers. So that project is similar to the Phoenix 5 in that it actually tracks terminal cancer patients from start to finish, so people just can see that this really does work. There's so much other stuff in it. I guarantee anybody who reads it, it is literally impossible to say that cannabis extracts have not worked against cancer in humans. Like, I've seen people try, and it's not pretty. Like, the evidence is just so overwhelming. It's very clear this works, and that we need to both research it and access it. We need to find what cannabinoid and terpenoid profiles work best against which diseases and which patient populations. And I really believe that research is going to take off soon, and that's what I'm fighting for.
Woohoo! And that's cannabisextractoils.com. Is that what I'm writing it down now?
Cannabisextractreport.com.
Cannabisextractreport.com.
I want to say I've been guilty of not reporting, and I'm going to, Justin, you've inspired me, and I'm going to hopefully inspire all our patients to report as well.
Woo!
Well, yeah, we should definitely stay in touch. I would certainly like the contact info of everybody on here. We can definitely, keep in touch.
Yes. I have to say, you sound very much like my partner, Chris Enns. Listening to you reminds me of listening to him. Sometimes we have to listen very hard.
And yeah, because they
so
both talk
much.
so fast.
We're so grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, Justin, and you're welcome anytime. I would love to, since we're talking about success stories, I would love for patients to call in and tell us their success stories. We're going to do that sometime really soon.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have a whole show just for that.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Speaking of success stories, the ASA conference that Justin and I were both at. Justin, you may have missed me because I was constantly in the hospitality room 315 with the vaporizers.
I'm pretty sure that I was in there a couple times.
Either that or I was down at the bar talking to the first financer, the primary financer of Americans for Safe Access. She can go to safeaccess.now or safeaccessnow.org. This is my favorite cannabis lobby, and I love them all. I love the Marijuana Project policy. I love the Students for Sensible Drug policy. But what really touched me about the ASA organization is that they flew in people from around the country who are making a difference in cannabis that could not afford to come to Washington, D.C. And they invited people. They had a very reasonable entrance fee to this conference, and people came from all around the country who have never stood up for their rights before. And the ASA folks taught these people how to lobby. We socialized, we partied, there were different teach-ins all week, there were different discussions and topics, but the highlight and the climax of this conference was that you learned how to go on Capitol Hill and have your voice be heard door to door. And I think that is absolutely invaluable in this movement. And critical, because you have so many people discovering so many personal experiences, and people feel so intimidated by the legal system. And Don and his crew at safeaccessnow.org took the fear right out of it, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
Excellent. Wow.
Other than that, I've got a couple things to suggest to people entertainment-wise. There's a really good podcast session out of LA that's run by Don Adams and April O'Connor that would complement this podcast session, and I suggest some schmoozing among the two. It's called The Session, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out the reason for being there, because I'm a workaholic Washingtonian, and really it was there to eat the edibles and get as high as possible without losing the mind. And I kept saying, yes, but what is the agenda? What is the agenda? And they're like, shut up and taste the cookie. And I'm like, oh, peanut butter. And they're like, yes, that is the agenda. But it was really fun. You can follow them at the Session Podcast on Twitter. June 28th on a Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. Haywood Turnipseed Jr., another weed warrior in the world of comedy, will be joining me, Ryan Schutt and Lars Loving, for another DCMJ fundraiser comedy show. We'll be doing another one Friday, July 11th. But for the Canadian crew that's listening, I want to tell you that comic Ryan Schutt is coming your way for the North by Northeast Festival, which is the South by Southwest Festival here in the United States, Austin, Texas. It's its sister program.
Right.
And Ryan will be there June 9th through the 12th, I believe.
I think that's in Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, yes.
19th to the 21st, I correct myself. And he is someone I love. Thank you for the rim shot.
Hey, we're full. We're a full show here. Come on.
And then every year we have an activist that he doesn't necessarily broadcast himself, but he has been every year the founder and organizer for our July 4th smoke-in. And every year on July 4th at around 11 a.m., we gather in front of the White House for a pro-legalization rally, and it's John Pilka that organizes this, and he brings in folks from all over the world that want to participate, and we have a speak out, and then we march down Constitution Avenue to a concert stage set up by Billy Beam, and his band, The Unfortunate Sons, and we throw down and have a huge concert. So anyone out there listening that potheads are just a bunch of lazy sit around and do nothings, we set up a full stage with giant stacked amps and a professional sound man.
And it's not easy.
And we throw a free concert until the fireworks begin.
Yeah, and speaking of concerts, Peace East is happening in Nova Scotia in Manganese Mines this year. It's a cannabis, we call it a Cannafest or a Meducation festival.
I love that. Meducation.
Pardon, Lord?
A can of camp out.
Yeah, Canna Camp Out or 420 Festival. So this is our 5th year now, and we found a solid location. It's called Gittins Lodge, and it's in this little town called Manganese Mines. It's in the middle of a forest, so we can be as loud as we like for 3 days.
Oh, hey, man, I know a comic named...
Can we run around naked? That's what I want to know.
What was it? Say that again, Elizabeth?
I said I know a comic named Elizabeth Croydon that would kill to be on that bill.
We'll have to talk. So, and yeah, we are trying to bring people from across the country, especially speakers about cannabis. So if you want to come and, just say shit for 15 minutes about cannabis and how it affected your life, we would love you to do that in between bands. That would be a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and we for sure, you can get in for free if you get up and speak. So, or if you volunteer, that's another good way to get in for free. But it's only $30 at the door. We usually have about 20 DJs and about 5 or 6 bands and a couple of comedians.
Is Chris going to be performing, Jess?
I had a great time. I believe in rock and rollitics, Al, and this platform definitely suits that. If anyone would like to follow me on Twitter, I'm at ecroydon, CROY, because weed should be legal, DON. CROYDON.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
You can just put in my name, Elizabeth Croydon, in YouTube and catch some of my old works. And I got 2 movies sold into distribution this year, and I'm trying to figure out what my 4th movie is going to be.
Internet radio station about pot, just saying.
What's the date for PCs, Jess?
August 15th, 16th, and 17th. So that's the weekend just during the Perseids meteor shower.
Ooh.
That's my 55th birthday.
Ooh.
Wow.
So, Jess, were you able to talk our buddy that does Repercussions Radio there to perform?
Oh, right, Chris.
Yeah.
I might have to try to get to Nova Scotia.
Get him into a... The reason I'm bringing it up is because it's a really cool show on Friday nights at 10 o'clock here on Lifestyle Radio.
And he's spinning as well. He promised me he would come. He's been in retirement for a little while other than online.
He just had a gig, didn't he?
He did?
I think he just had a gig.
To me, that
I think he did. I think he mentioned he had one or he's going to be having one. What?
He sucks for not telling me. I only live.
Well, now, come on. Now, I said I believe he did, or he is about to.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I forgot.
Justin, as always, it is a pleasure, my friend. I would love to have you on the show more often, buddy.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth,
thanks for joining us, Justin.
Finally a pleasure to chat. We've been chatting on Twitter for a little while now, Elizabeth and I.
I've really enjoyed the news items that you choose to put out on Twitter. I think what you're doing is vital, Al. I would love to be invited back. It was a delight to meet Justin and to schmooze with everybody. I think that the community of cannabis needs to come together because weed are the world. Weed are the people.
Weed are the people.
Weed are.
Let's all grab our hands together and sing Kumbaya.
Amen and women. I'll sing Kumbaya if you get me high enough. I'll even go into a hug circle.
Sounds like a challenge accepted.
Really?
And on
August
that note,
15th in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. The beat down.
All right. All right.
Put the tabs down.
It has been a slice, folks.
Away from the bone.
We're gonna.
Thank you all for joining us. I love this couple hours every week. I look forward to it.
Jess has the giggles today.
I can't wait to smell your plants.
Oh.
Especially after the rain. I've got some friends in Guelph. I'm a big fan of Night of 1,000 Accordions.
Oh, there you go. You're going to have to let me know if you're coming up north of the border and come have coffee in the garden.
I will. Look up the comedian Howard Dover. While you're there. He's out of Toronto and L.A.
We know who he is. I know
good.
Yeah, he's great.
I really, good human. Very good human.
Very good human.
That's cool.
He taught me that He taught me that the vaporizer bag from the volcano once used is excellent to baste your turkey in on Thanksgiving.
That's
Wow.
That's a true story. That is true. It's the
geez.
It's the same polyester plastic.
Wow, you know what? That's a really good
Some
idea.
marijuana wine or some weed whiskey. That would be,
you know what? Actually,
medically now, I'm talking about pure entertainment.
That's self-medicated.
I tried.
Primarily self-medicator.
I got last year a couple of sample bottles of Mary Jane's, and it's hemp wine.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had a red and I had a white, and we actually we tried it during our Passover dinner last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lovely, holy way to get in touch with the spirits.
There you go. It was.
Pass.
It passed over.
With an A+ if you have hemp wine. My goodness.
Yeah, we got to figure out something for those of us that don't partake. Imbibe, is that the word?
So, do we have promo for next week, Al?
No, not yet.
No. Oh,
no.
Okay.
No, I have no idea what's going on. We'll be here.
I'll tell everyone to tune in. This has been fantastic, highly engaging, and I learned a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Folks, it's always a pleasure. And ladies, I will see you next week. Justin, feel free to call in anytime you want, my friend, and let us know if we can help with anything, getting the word out. Elizabeth,
awesome, no problem.
Please let me know when you got dates and stuff like that. I'll get Jess to make sure she makes a mention during our event.
I sure will, and I'll send you a couple of cannabis experts that would really enjoy meeting you and being part of your program.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
That would be awesome.
Thank you.
And on that note, this is the 420 Radio Show. You can find us every day at 420 and a new live show Wednesdays at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here next week. Good night, everybody. Or good afternoon.
John.
Enjoy your
Thank
snacks.
you so much.
Yeah, goodbye, John Boy.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night.
One time for all my people growing weed. Put their life on the line for what some people need. Running from the law over a fucking steed. Well, the law don't make any sense to me. Cause it's a plan, a gift given to me and you. You don't like it, then outlaw every flower too. Plan, a gift given to me and you. You don't like it, then outlaw every flower too. Yeah, cause that's exactly what it is. They've been lying to the parents, swear it's good for the kids. You need some proof, but just look what I did. Went from barely alive to teaching y'all how to live. But before the first hit, I was as bad as it gets. I'll be the first to admit I acted like a little bitch. So to the one growing, that's a team up. Thanks, one love, we see ya. I call it Killy, puff till I'm silly. Then call my dilly, scoop it silly. Twist up a really, maybe a Philly, I don't really be all that picky. Lunner and Ziggy, long as it's sticky, might even burn a split spiffy, but won't smoke another ciggy. Quit those ounces, try to flip those, but learn fast and sell them grass like walk around on your tiptoes. Now why's it like that? Who knows? To be exact, check the polls. Less than 45% of America oppose. Cause it's a plant, a gift given to me and you. If you don't like it, then outlaw every flower too. Yeah, so to the one growing that in the cup, thanks, we need you. One time for all my people growing weed. Put their life on the line for what some people need. Running from the law over a fucking seed. Well, the law don't make any sense to me.
You like music, you like weed, well, we gonna be good friends indeed. This is not much I like more than smoking trees. They'll make you dance the do-si-do and teach you how the chiba grows. Smoke a bowl on the 420 radio show. On Lifestyle Radio.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Good evening. I'm Coulter Wonkite. I'm already into the 420, damn it.
Are you looking for non-stop, continuous cannabis and psychedelic programming? If you are, then turn your browsers to 420radio.ca or paceradio.net, where you will find the 420 Pace ReRolled Saturday. Everything gets started at 8 a.m. Eastern Saturday morning.
This, guys, is a BT bottle with a little straw on the end of it, okay? Back in the day, we used to have glass bottles, soda pop in glass bottles, okay? Soft drinks. And this was built for the old school hash. This is the hash that your uncles and your grandparents would get. And this is the stuff that we would all treasure whenever we could get it, because we thought it was the best stuff, because it's the constant. It was our form of concentrate.
Correct.
Right? When we were young, right?
Yes.
This is
To answer your question now.
Oh, here we go.
Forward. Oh, now you're going to cut this out if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
You just cut it out now. These are the 3 tools I use to form and shape the hashes.
So now once the prep work is done over on the lathe, it now has to come over to me to put the mouthpiece on and finish off the top part. So first up, I just need to clean up and close off the top that's left over.
First thing I'll do is I will heat up the corner and I'll push in the Maria, which is the circular lump that acts as a stopper. Right? Whereas I'm kind of like, I'm 49 years old, but I don't have time to be an artist.
You know, but each one is individual, though. There's only one of each. So it does make it art.
Oh, stop it. Okay.
Hi, I'm Timmy.
And I'm Mary Jane. He's the newbie.
She's the doobie. And this is the show
where we tote cannabis.
Talk.
From both sides.
Is that even possible?
Stay tuned. We'll be back after